Hi hobby friends, let's talk about getting better. That quote I used as the title there is from Samuel Beckett, one of the best playwrights of the English language and a superlatively mopey looking chap. Try again, fail better. That's the essence of getting better in a pithy little nutshell. Unfortunately for us though, while steps 1 and 2 are pretty self-explanatory, step 3 is a bit more of a challenge. How exactly do we go about failing better? There are loads of videos out there on how to start mini painting. Loads and loads and loads, and maybe I'll even do one of those one day, but that's not what I'm interested in today. Today I want to talk about carrying on, not starting. So how do you graduate from beginner to intermediate? And what does that even mean? And when you get to intermediate, how do you carry on getting better rather than just spinning around in circles? Let's throw out some arbitrary definitions to get us started. Maybe a beginner is someone who is following the guides, but not really sure on what each step and technique is really doing. They're turning out minis at the end, but they don't fully understand what they did to get there. This has absolutely nothing to do with what those minis look like though, it's about the intention and the agency of the painter. An expert might be someone who can take a bit of resin or plastic and turn it into what they're seeing in their head without much or any backtracking, without fighting with their techniques. They have creative freedom. Again, it's not really about what that mini looks like, it's about how much control the painter has over the process. In that case, an intermediate person is someone between those two things. Someone who has some technical knowledge under their belt, can realise their mental image on the mini most of the time, but maybe has to backtrack a little bit now and then, needs some practice on specific techniques, doesn't have loads of tricks in their bag yet, that sort of thing. Okay, so arbitrary definitions are done, but how do we get there? And how do we keep going? I've got two main things I've been thinking about recently. Are you ready for some titles? Obviously, we need to get better at the actual physical act of painting minis. This means better brush control, a broader understanding of how our paints work, practice at all those techniques that you can find tutorials for online like glazing and oil washes and all that. You need to watch other painters show you how to do things, listen to their advice, find out how they're getting the effects they're getting. But you also just need to do it. Lots. Lock yourself away in a room and try glazing a smooth gradient on 100 minis, and you'll almost certainly get better at glazing. There are, however, things you can do to make this sort of grind more productive and less, grindy, and they might also help you break some bad habits as well. For example, painting actively. When you're painting something, are you on autopilot, or are you really aware of what's going on and what you're doing? Try not to get annoyed that your edge highlight isn't turning out right, just talk to yourself about it. What's going wrong? Is it blobby or scratchy? By actually vocalizing what your problem is, or at least putting it into words in your head, you might give yourself a clue to solving it. All too often I've found myself getting annoyed with something that's not working, but when I actually say out loud what's going on, I realise I can just change up what I'm doing a little bit. These edge highlights are looking blobby, I might say to myself, and that makes me realise I just need to stop loading my paintbrush up to the hilt with gloopy paint. It's also vital to keep yourself positively motivated. This means finishing things, setting the right challenges, and taking the right kinds of breaks. For example, I love speed painting stuff, not because I'm in a rush, but because it feels good to have a completed squad of minis on the shelf. It makes me love painting more, and so I do more painting, even the slower stuff. This feeds into a desire to try new things like busts or dioramas or types of mini I wouldn't normally consider. Painting those things then feels like taking a break from painting, but I'm still actually painting. And then I get sick of spending ages on one thing and I go back to speed painting stuff. All that helps keep up the consistency in my painting, and that is a vital piece of improving. Not just how many hours you paint, but how consistently you're doing it. As my old music teacher used to say, 10 minutes every day is better than 2 hours at the weekend. Now, not everyone's life or schedule allows for that, but it's worth thinking about. Also though, what if there was a way of getting better that didn't even involve picking up a paintbrush? Alright, this is something that I'm really interested in, and something I think we don't talk about enough. Of course, getting better means doing a thing more, but I think there's something else involved as well, another factor that separates us from our aspirational future painter selves, and that thing is looking. It's easy to doom scroll through Reddit or Instagram, flooding your brain with gazillions of studio-perfect photos of world-class minis, either inspiring yourself or maybe the complete opposite depending on what mood you're in. It's pretty simple to wade through all of those great minis and just think, wow, that is amazing, and move on to the next thing. But beneath that first layer of experience, that initial wow factor, that mini is actually something like a book ready to reveal all of its secrets to you if you just give it a little bit of time. So take a look at this bust from one of my favourite painters. It's easy to just be bowled over by how great it is and sit in awe, and that's fine, that's a nice way to enjoy that mini, but how about we stop a second and actually look at it? Maybe we might notice the intensity of the yellow around the highest highlight on the forehead. Maybe we spot the way he used those blue-greys almost like edge highlights to define the shadow side of the face. Or the shift in detail rendering from the face to the neck. Or the difference in the texture of the skin and the shirt. And maybe, if we keep looking, we can start to see not just the wow, but the how. Now, I'm not saying having a look at someone else's mini is going to automatically make you a better painter, but if we want to transition from groping beginner to seeking intermediate painter, we need to start demystifying the painting process, and to do that, we need to start deconstructing our idols. But why stop there? Our canvas painting elders in the fine arts world have literally thousands of years of knowledge for us to plunder. Go and take a look at a Vermeer. How is he really getting that light so right? Why is this Hockney splash so compelling? And of course, artwork from the world of the minis we're painting is also a fantastic resource for learning more about our little hobby. How much actual white is there on this white scar? How gorgeous is this combo of crimson pink and purple grey? There is so much fantastic stuff out there to inspire and, more importantly, to educate us. And we haven't even started talking about the real world. But maybe we'll save that for some other time. It might seem a bit overblown all this for a mini, but why not? I find at least one portion of my enjoyment of, well, any pastime really, is the sense that I'm getting better at it. Learning is a skill, something you can learn to be better at. Learning to learn. I've genuinely never been more interested in hearing what you guys have to say about all this. Where are you on your mini painting journey? How do you intend to carry on? Say hello in the comments below and start a conversation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.